Barron Trump had always been a curious student. He wasn't one to sit back and let lessons pass him by. He questioned things, pushed discussions forward, and always had a knack for remembering details others overlooked. But if there was one teacher who truly left an impact on him, it was Mr. Caldwell, his high school history teacher. Mr. Caldwell was different. He didn't just teach history, he made it feel alive. He would walk around the classroom, act out scenes from the past, and throw unexpected questions that made students think. He made even the most disinterested students care. But now, years later, that same man was sitting on a cold sidewalk, clutching a cardboard sign, trembling in the winter air. It happened on a chilly December evening. Barron, now 18, was stepping out of a sleek black SUV, dressed in an elegant black suit, heading toward a charity gala in Manhattan's Upper East Side. The event was full of New York's elite, millionaires, celebrities, politicians, all gathering to raise funds for underprivileged students. Ironically, just a few blocks away, a real-life example of a fallen teacher sat ignored by the world. As Barron walked past a dimly lit alley, he heard laughter. Teenagers, maybe 16 or 17, were taunting a homeless man. They threw crumpled-up food wrappers and mocked him. "Yo, look at this dude," one of them sneered. "Bet he smells worse than a garbage truck." "Hey, teach us some history, old man," another joked, mimicking a lecture voice. "Or do you only teach how to fail at life?" The man cowered, pulling his coat tighter. Barron froze. Something about the man's posture, his worn-out face, felt familiar. And then, in the dim streetlight, he recognized him. "Mr. Caldwell?" Barron whispered. The old man flinched at the sound of his name, as if it had been years since someone said it. Slowly, he turned his head, squinting. "Barron?" The teens laughed even harder. "No way, you know this loser," one of them cackled. Barron's blood boiled. He turned to the teenagers, his piercing gaze shutting them up instantly. "Get lost." His voice was calm but firm. There was no argument. One by one, the teens shuffled away, their laughter fading into nervous whispers. Now, only Barron and Mr. Caldwell remained. A conversation between two worlds. Barron knelt down, now face to face with his former teacher. "What happened to you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Caldwell sighed, his hands shaking. "Life happened, kid." Barron sat beside him on the pavement. "Tell me." And so, Mr. Caldwell told his story. It started with his wife's cancer diagnosis. The medical bills drained their savings faster than they imagined. He sold their house, thinking they could downsize and manage, but the cancer spread faster than the treatments helped. Then came the school budget cuts. After 30 years of teaching, he was suddenly laid off. He tried to fight it, but what was a single teacher against the system? His wife passed away. His bills piled up. His rent went unpaid. One day, he woke up, and his entire life was gone. "I told myself I'd get back up," Mr. Caldwell murmured. "But every door I knocked on closed in my face. No one wants to hire a 60-year-old teacher who's been out of work for years." Barron felt his stomach twist. This was the man who inspired hundreds of students, reduced to begging on the streets. "Not on my watch." Barron stood up, taking off his expensive designer coat and draping it over his former teacher's shoulders. "Come with me," he said, his voice determined. Barron brought him home. Trump Tower's security guards gave him skeptical looks as they watched Barron walk into the lobby with a ragged, shivering man. But Barron didn't care. "Get a guest suite ready," he ordered the staff. "And bring food. Warm food." The butlers and assistants rushed to obey. Mr. Caldwell hesitated. "Barron, I don't think I belong here." Barron turned to face him, his expression serious. "You belonged in my classroom," Barron said. "And now, you belong here." A tear slipped down Mr. Caldwell's cheek. That night, for the first time in years, he slept in a warm bed. Over the next few days, Barron went to work. First, he took Mr. Caldwell shopping. Not just for clothes, but for confidence. He knew that to restore his dignity, his teacher needed to feel like himself again. Then, he made calls. Barron reached out to education entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and digital learning platforms. Days turned into weeks. Mr. Caldwell shaved, gained weight, and found his voice again. Then, the breakthrough happened. An online learning company offered him a job, not just any job, but a position where he could teach history online to thousands of students worldwide. It wasn't just a second chance. It was a new beginning. Barron filmed the entire transformation. He uploaded a video titled, "From Homeless to History Teacher, The Comeback Story." Within 24 hours, it hit 10 million views. Celebrities, former students, and news stations picked up the story. Then came the biggest shock of all: a former student of Mr. Caldwell, now a tech billionaire, saw the video and donated $500,000 to him. Months later, Mr. Caldwell stood on a TEDx stage, giving a speech titled, "Why We Should Never Forget Our Teachers." Barron sat in the front row, proud. The world had once forgotten Mr. Caldwell. But now, he was changing lives again. And it all started because one student refused to walk away. The end.